Well, today we turn to our program, which is about some of our startup business owners here in the club. You know, when I was president, the Rotary International established, they sent a strong message to clubs that we have in the past had policies of not encouraging people to join Rotary to promote their business. And of course, we don't allow that to occur. We have people come and advertising their business. As a member, that we're very service oriented, but that what has happened over the years is there's been such a strong reaction against that it seems to be forbidden to mention your business at meetings. And yet, for business people in the club, it's part of your personality, it's a part of who you are, and I know we have a lot of interest in knowing more about your businesses. So the program committee has decided to have a series of programs where business owners and also people who are employed in business can give some testimony about what they do. So we thought we would start with 3 members who have in fact started their own businesses, startup businesses, and so in order, I've asked Bob and then Kyle and finally Tom to tell us some about their business. So let's start with Bob and hear your story of how you got. It's actually been at least 2 businesses.
That's what I'll cover. Yeah.
Tell us about that, please.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to just kind of approach this from the way a business evolves and also transitions, because I've been through a few of those. This first picture I put in there because I know a lot of you suspect, and I just wanted to clarify that I was an absolutely adorable child. That's my dad and my sister. Well, I was hoping for that picture to be bigger. The real significance of that picture is my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad had been a postal worker and had been a meat cutter. And they had a little house in Eureka. It's a little Pearson flat top on Booner Street between Williams and B Street. And he went up one summer or whatever to paint the house, bought paint from Sunquist Paint in Henderson Center. And the result was the paint job on that house. The paint blistered. It was just a nightmare. And as he was working with the paint company to figure out what happened and how to fix it or whatever, they took a liking to him and they offered him a job. So he went to work for the Fleur O'Brien Paint Company. Their branch store was at 5th and Commercial, and away he went. I should add, my folks went on to disappoint me 2 more times when I asked for a little brother. My 2 little sisters were born afterwards. So as I was going through school, up and through high school, I wasn't a bad student, but never at any point did any teachers ever say, you know, Robert should take some college prep classes. It just wasn't really, something that they had any encouragement for. But I always had a job, and I always had money because we worked. Our family had a dance band. We used to play 1 or 2 dance jobs a weekend. So I always was pretty flush with it. But after high school, I headed down to College of the Redwoods, took every business class that they had down there. And along the way, the Benjamin Moore Paint Company approached my dad and said, we'd like to have a dealer in Eureka. Would you be interested in that? And he had been wanting to have his own business for quite a long time. So he and Mom went down to Humboldt National Bank, mortgaged the house for $30,000. Paint company sent up an opening order. I think it was about 12 pallets of paint. So and wrote us a note on that we would start paying off as soon as business got going. And away we went. But kind of funny transition there too. I was going to CR. I was a student. As I was kind of helping my dad put the space together, and he bought a glass shop at Eureka and so we were going to do all that. I looked at him one day and I'm like, God, you know, you're going to need an employee. And he looked at me and goes, that's what you are. And it all dawned on me at that point. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. You know, it wasn't. But you know that has to do with communication. With my dad, we had been playing on the bandstand for so long. You know, everything was very nonverbal. You know, I knew what he was trying to tell me just by when he had his horn in his mouth, the way he wrinkled his eyebrow or whatever. I knew what he was trying to say. So anyway, that all happened. So that was 1979. At that point, I got what I considered to be my 4-year degree working in the business. And the dealer, the Fuller O'Brien dealer, which was at 959 H Street, where Daisy's Dry Goods is right up there now, was looking to retire. And so Dad sent me over to Arcata, and then basically we were one business with 2 locations. So that's how I landed here. Dutch, the owner of the store, had paint, wallpaper, floor coverings, window coverings, art supplies. We brought some glass in to do a little glass cutting. It was a whole bunch of stuff out of that little location, and got to be a challenge. After a couple of years, we wanted to do more in the floor coverings, so we ordered 25 carpet remnants and put that in. That was the start of our floor covering part in terms of stocking it. My folks split up shortly after that. And that meant my mom, who had joined the business right off the bat, and my wife, who had joined the business when we bought the store in Arcata, landed with me, and here we were, a guy with his wife and his mother in business in Arcata. So that was challenging, but we worked really hard. And then in 1988, we went on a trip with our very good friends Brian and Cindy Hunt, and I must have talked about how I needed to get out of that location and find another location. We got back, Brian went and found a building at 639 6th Street where we moved down to, so we ended up rehabbing the left. So that was in 1989. We worked through the 90s, and in the business grew, and in 1997 we felt the need to split the floor coverings off, so we took Jeff Schmidt as a partner and opened Arcata Pro Floor and moved them down the street so that we had more room in this building here to do the paint business, which was growing, and inventory and so forth. We just didn't have room to do everything anymore. At that point, Susan took the window covering department from the paint store, and we developed a Shady Lady thing, and she had her showroom inside this building down here on H Street. So then we got into the 2000s. Business was excellent after 9/11. People were really doing a lot of nesting, not so much traveling, working on their house or whatever. And so things went really well. Along the way, Susan said, you know, why don't you quit this and come and work with me, and we'll just do this Shady Lady thing, and it will be more simple. And I wasn't quite ready, but after a while, we did a kind of another major remodel on the building, and we were on a trip at one point, and I think in 2007 in the spring, I said, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to let this go. I think I've said everything that I have to say with this paint business. It had been 28 years. And so I sent an email to my paint company representative with the title of the email being, and no, I'm not just having a bad day. But in an email, I said, you know what, we thought about it, we're ready to let this go. You know, do you have any thoughts or feelings, or how we might, you know, how this might happen? He said, well, gosh, that's funny, because when I was there a couple weeks ago, Jack Reekey, who owns Schaefer's in Eureka, asked me, do you think Bob and Sue would ever be interested in selling the paint business? And so Jack had bought my dad's store and then employed him in the paint department at Schaefer's. So I was like, oh great, I'll call him up. And I did that. He goes, oh yeah, I said that, but it wasn't for me. I was asking for my buddy Jerry King. Jerry owned Hensel's at the time, and Steve McCormack's father. So we connected, and by the end of the year, we had made the transition, and they took over at the beginning of 2008. this is where I put kind of a lot of thought into this over the years. Originally, when we bought the store in Arcata, the owner, the seller, basically carried most of the paper. Wrote us basically loaned us the money, and it was up to me and up to us to get up to speed well enough to be able to service that debt. Well, by the time business had developed, we were 6 or 7 times. I think he did about $155,000 in his last full year of business here. We finished up. We were at like 1.2 million, and that didn't even include the floor covering department. That was a totally separate business. So finding, I would have loved to find a young person that could have all the same opportunities that I have, but that's a really difficult thing to do, because you would immediately saddle them with a lot of debt that would be difficult to pay off. And if they weren't adept at running a business, then that would mean taking a lot of risk on our part and having to possibly take back the business. And if you think back at the end of 2007, right before the Great Recession that we had, number one, our timing was excellent. We were open 7 days a week at that point, and I think if something hadn't happened, I probably would have been working 7 days a week till now. Who knows? But Jerry, well capitalized and a business owner and very experienced, and was able to take that business and absorb it into pencils, and not have to worry necessarily about an economic downturn. It was all very stable, and so we really felt good about that. But it has made me realize that it's difficult for somebody to buy a business the way that I did, and we're going to hear from Tom. He had a similar situation. Kyle's a startup, but it has made me more aware that when somebody starts a business in Arcata or Eureka or whatever, that it's really important to support them, because it is a risk and a leap, and you don't see these days small businesses being succeeded as much because of that risk and that. If somebody had the cash to buy the business, why would you buy a job? So that's kind of my point. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Howard, I think we're going to take questions at the end, or
we can take one or two questions now.
If anybody
wants to ask.
Did that cover everything? Great.